Bonjour les amis. Bienvenue. Taking a short walk before the rain rolls in. It's going to be a wet one. Bonjour tout le monde. I thought I'd share some Parisian vibes. You are looking at the Pantheon. You want some rain in California? We're about to get a lot of it. I might ship you some. We are Rue Soufflot in the 5th arrondissement in the Latin Quarter. Welcome if you just joined. This is Véro. Taking a short stroll before the downpour. This is the fast food lane. Right across from the Luxembourg Garden, we have McDonald's and Burger King. Probably because we have so many students around here. You can see the beautiful Luxembourg Gardens across from me over there. I thought I'd stroll down boulevard St Michel for a little while to share with you the ambiance. Lots of shops. Traffic too, very loud. Bienvenue à Paris. Welcome to Paris. If you just joined us, we are walking on the left bank in the Latin Quarter before the big clouds above my head decide it's time for a major rainstorm. And we have reached one of the landmarks in this neighborhood, which is the famous Place de la Sorbonne. Nice cafes and terraces. You can see people have kind of moved indoors now, not really inside the restaurants, but they have deserted the terrace. It's getting chilly. It's fall. Of course, the Sorbonne may be the most famous school around here, but it's definitely not the only one. Some of the top French schools, higher education, are located within a few blocks of each other. Teachers are trained around here. Scientists are trained around here. Doctors are trained around here. So, of course, you have a lot of students here. And that explains why there was so much turmoil in 1968 during the student protest and why it all happened here, in fact, in the street. You may have seen pictures of the barricades they erected, ripped out the cobblestones, built barricades just like in the good old days, and that was 1968, and it all happened in this neighborhood and on this street. It smells like rain. I can smell it through the face mask. That must be my Seattle training, huh? 2 decades in Seattle will do that for you. This is completely impromptu. I just arrived less than an hour ago, so I don't really have a planned route or anything like that, but I thought you might just enjoy walking with me, strolling with me in Paris today. Across from us is Gibert, G-I-B-E-R-T. Do you see it? This is there are several Gibert. You can see one here. You can see another one there, another one down there. The Gibert brothers competed with each other. They sell books, new and used books, and they buy books as well. I used to sell my college books here, my textbooks. And the two brothers competed with each other for decades. And then a few years ago, in the face of, the competition from all the online businesses like Amazon, they decided to join forces. Gibert Joseph, Gibert Jeune. It's kind of all the same now. And today I saw a lot of people browsing and looking at the books outside. In fact, I'll pause here so you can see. Bonjour, bienvenue. I see all your bonjour. It's lovely to see you. Over 100 people here. Not bad for an impromptu walk. Thank you for joining me. And here, of course, we reached the Cluny Museum, the Museum of the Middle Ages. This is the newer face of the museum here. See this new building? They've been working on it for several years, and I believe it's going to close down completely for a few months. It's not the only museum in Paris that's going to get work done. Last week, I took you on a walk from the Trocadero to the Eiffel Tower and the Champ de Mars, and we talked about the Grand Palais, which is going to close at the end of this year for 4 years. So a lot of buildings in Paris are getting a lot of love and attention in anticipation of the 2024 Olympic Games. And here we are looking at probably the oldest, or one of the oldest parts of Paris, the old Roman baths. You can visit them still if you've never been inside. When the Romans invaded Gaul in 1 BC, and they settled down here in the city that was called Lutetia at the time, they started on the Ile de la Cité, but then they spread to the left bank, and this was actually the heart of the Roman city. And these baths were a very popular location. Something you can visit when you go to the Cluny Museum, the Museum of the Middle Ages I just pointed out. And at this spot here, the boulevard St Michel, where we are, he's going to cross another big one called the boulevard Saint-Germain. If I went to the left here, I would be headed to Saint-Germain-des-Prés, the iconic neighborhood in the 6th arrondissement. If I keep walking straight, I'm going to reach eventually the Seine River. I'm tempted to do it through the small streets, and I hope the signal will hold. So I'm going to try that for you, okay? I think it'll be more interesting with a little less noise. And I want to show you that Paris is still quite lively. Of course, it's Saturday. Another McDonald's. We are entering Rue de la Harpe, Harpe. Yes, you do have to wear face masks. The only time you can take them off is if you're eating or smoking a cigarette. To be fair, most people are wearing them. You don't have to wear them if you're sitting at a cafe either. This traditionally has been a very touristy part of the Latin Quarter. In normal circumstances, this would be really crowded. It's a little early for dinner, but you would have people walking around. And here you do get medieval vibes. You see the street, La Rue de la Parcheminerie. You can see how narrow the streets were, narrower, I should say, the streets were in the Middle Ages. So these would be your very touristy restaurants here. And you can tell because they're translated in many languages. Though of course right now there aren't that many foreign visitors. Some were here this summer, but now it's fall, so things have slowed down. Different types of food here. French food, of course, but also Greek restaurants, Middle Eastern restaurants, Italian restaurants, very international cuisine. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the walk. I haven't prepared anything, so I'm just I'm just walking. Let's see, right, I think would be a good. Look at that. Ooh, there's a pirate, and the pirate is wearing a face mask. Who says Parisians don't wear their face masks? Look at that. Hi there, mate. I do believe this is Johnny Depp. And inside, you have candy. Because pirates, everybody knows, love candy. Bonjour, monsieur. Here's something interesting here. Look at this street. Pretty cool, huh? Bonjour, monsieur. Ça va? Ça va, monsieur? We are Rue Saint-Severin, in case you're wondering, because I wanted to walk past the beautiful church that is located right here. If you have a chance to visit this church, it's beautiful. Lovely stained glass windows. A treat from Odette would be lovely. Here is Saint-Severin. It's a little too high. I hope I'm not going to do another cartwheel with this machine I'm holding. Remember when I did one last week? That was quite fun. It needs a little bit of TLC, Saint-Severin. The facade is really dirty. As you can see, a lot of shops are still closed and restaurants. They should be open now on a Saturday evening, but some of them have not reopened. Some of them will open later, maybe just for dinner. Souvenir shops, some of them are still closed. Look at this door. It's older than I am. Still the facade, the church's facade, Saint-Severin. I will walk past Odette. For those of you who love her sweet specialties, little puff cream pastry, les choux with different flavors. I haven't had one in a long time. I just hope the weather holds up. Here's Odette. If you come to this neighborhood, it's a very popular place. You can also have coffee here. You can see the lovely little tables here. You can sit out here and then you can enjoy a treat. Voila, my friends. Ciao. Just for you. Bonjour. Another street that's lovely here, Rue Galande. See? Yeah, Odette wasn't there when I went to the Sorbonne either, fortunately as well. We are now, oh, I can hear the thunder. Rue Saint-Julien-le-Pauvre. I like these red chairs. I think they look really nice, a little lonely maybe. And look back at, we can look back at Saint-Severin. Some of you may have attended concerts in this beautiful church, very old church, Église Saint-Julien-le-Pauvre. They're starting to do concerts in churches again, or they were starting. But with the new decisions they just made, I'm not really sure that's still going to be the case. I could go through the park, but instead I will take you, since we're so close, I will take you to see Notre-Dame. I think you will all enjoy it. We can go to the park another time. Oh, well, thank you, Dee. I'm glad you're enjoying this. I wasn't going to go that far, so here is Shakespeare and Company. You've all heard about that bookstore, but this is the tea room. That's very popular. And the bookstore is right around the corner here on the left. Many people love coming to Shakespeare and Company and have for a long time. That's the green awning you see. Hey Bruce, welcome. All right, this is what we all want to see. This is our friend Notre-Dame de Paris. Now, don't panic. She looks really banged up from this side, doesn't she? So you can see the big scaffolding is still there, the one they're trying to take down. They've taken sections down, I can tell. But they've had to erect scaffoldings all around it too. So now she has twice as many scaffoldings on. And the big crane, remember when they set up that crane months ago? That's the crane that's able to actually lift things off the site. Let's walk around it, shall we? That'll give you a little update on Notre-Dame. You may remember I came to the crypt, the archaeological crypt, when it reopened. And I shared the photos I took there a few days ago on this page, so you can scroll down and you'll find them. And it's the crypt sits right outside Notre-Dame, and it had been closed since the fire. Now, the challenge in Paris is always crossing the street. And you'd better not trespass, because now we have cars to worry about, as well as bicycles. Okay, I did it. A little bit of a sad sight here. Look, the bouquinistes, the used booksellers, they're all closed right now. They were open earlier this week, so I'm not sure why they're closed. Oh, this is a lovely, lovely view of Notre-Dame. Look at that, guys. She's looking pretty good from this side. Of course, the spire is missing, but she's looking good. What is that expression? Ominous clouds. That is the expression. We have 122 people, 23 for an impromptu walk. That is amazing. On the left here you see a lot of French flags. This beautiful building is the Préfecture de Police. The police headquarters, if you prefer. At night it's really beautiful. It's all lit up. I want to stand right outside Notre-Dame, as close as I can get you. So here is the archaeological crypt. This is where you go in. It's reopened now. And it's really worth it. There is a great photo exhibit on top of the ruins of the Gallo-Roman city you can still see down there. There is a great photo exhibit which is a tribute to two men who played a big part in saving Notre-Dame in the 19th century. Victor Hugo and architect Eugène Viollet-le-Duc. So I think that's a beautiful sign they did, don't you think? It's all over the metro. I've seen it. So if you come back, when you come back, I should say, you should try and visit the crypt if you haven't. Here is beautiful Notre-Dame. Still standing tall and proud. She's been receiving a lot of help from her friends over the last year and a half. A lot of support from around the world. So this is a lot closer than we used to be able to this is pretty close. Charlemagne is still on his horse. He's behind the fence. You see him? So we cannot get to him. Now, as often in France, they try to teach. It's always very didactic when you have a monument or a landmark, and they try to teach people. They give them information about the landmark, and in the case of Notre-Dame, everybody's interested in knowing what's going on with the renovation. These are drawings from children, or by children, I should say. This one came from Germany. This one from Paris. The kids' names are under each drawing, which I think is lovely. Think of how proud they must be to see their work here. Tristan did this one. Beautiful. So it goes on to the right over there. You see? And let's see, what's on this side? Oh yeah, I saw that the other day. That's a really nice, since we cannot see the three portals very well, what they've done is they've added big photos of them, and they have translated in English. So they explain to you the detail of each portal, what it represents, etc., which I think is really nice. So you have the portal of the Virgin on the left, over there. You have the portal of the Last Judgment in the center, and you have the portal of Sainte Anne on the right. And because we can't get any closer, they're kindly showing us details and telling us the story. The rose window is still there. Beautiful. I think there's a tour going on here. The Hotel Dieu hospital is here. I can feel a few drops, raindrops. I shall open the umbrella so the phone is protected. Hey, bonjour, bienvenue if you just joined. This is Véronique, Véro, travel blogger, Paris-based tour guide, taking you on a bit of an impromptu walk around well, we were in the Latin Quarter and the 5th arrondissement. Now we're on an island now. We are on Ile de la Cité. So all along Notre-Dame you have photos of the devastation, you know, from the fire. They show you what happened, how they retrieved everything, labeled everything. It was incredible work. All the debris. At first they sent in machines because the structure was unstable and they had no idea if it was going to collapse on people's head. And then once they had stretched out those big nets that you see inside the church, this is a great photo here, if I can show it to you. You see the hole where the spire collapsed. But with the nets now, they're pretty confident they can catch stones or whatever falls down. A few days ago, I shared an update on the statues of the apostles that stood around the spire and were fortunately removed for renovation before the fire. I shared a photo of the rooster, which you're looking at now. They found it a couple days after the fire, I think, on a balcony or a terrace in the debris. This too, I shared this. All of these are now at the Cité de l'Architecture, this tremendous museum at the Trocadero. And I think I pinned it at the top of this page, actually. You may be able to find those photos if you haven't seen those. Here they are preparing the nets, or nettings, I'm not sure what to call them. Netting, it's called, protecting netting. That's when they were. Look at that. Look at the work. Look at how much work it involved. So those guys who can climb ropes and work at removing that old scaffolding that's been kind of melted down by the fire are called écureuils, squirrels, because they're completely agile and they can climb those ropes and go down those ropes like squirrels. Les écureuils. Their professional name is cordiste. Corde in French means rope. Okay, so from this side, again, we see an ailing Notre-Dame. Not very straight, am I? Scaffolding and more scaffolding. 130 people. Thank you, welcome. So right now we are walking on the Ile de la Cité, and the star on Ile de la Cité has always been Notre-Dame. So more of these signs telling us what's happening. Oh, this is good. Look at that. This is the scaffolding I was talking about, the one that got melted down by the fire that they're in the process of taking down now. It's quite impressive, isn't it? Imagine the work. Very dangerous work too. My goal is to be able to walk all the way around Notre-Dame for you today, but without getting soaked. We shall see if I make it or not. Oh, I like this. From this side here, you can see the flying buttresses, the arc-boutons, and you can see how they reinforced them with wood. They did that at the very beginning, right after the fire, to make sure these guys would hold up, because if they held up, then Notre-Dame would stay up, you know. You can see that was incredible work. The carpenters who did this, look at that. Incredible work. Those are my shoes you hear. Click clack. Oh, there's construction. I was going to show you the street, but it's not pretty. Too much construction going on. This is the view from that big crane I showed you earlier. This is the gentleman piloting the crane, and this is what Paris looks like from up there. Imagine that. Bienvenue if you are just joining us. My name is Véronique, Véro, and you are on the France with Véro community. I share my love of Paris and France every day almost in social media, on Facebook, on Instagram. And all my guided video tours or the replays of my live stream tours like this one are on YouTube, on the France with Véro YouTube channel. As you may remember, I traveled around France this summer. I was on the road for 30 days in August. Traveled around Western France all the way to my hometown, Toulouse in the southwest. If 130 of you were following me in person, it would be a very big group. I have had about 30 people following me, but not 130. Okay, I think we're gonna make it. First, we'll take chances and share. Red light. I'm gonna jaywalk. Oh no. I try not to do that. All right, so I'm not going to go in this direction because I want to walk around Notre-Dame. This is the beautiful Ile Saint-Louis, the second of the two islands. So the Ile de la Cité, the big one, is where Notre-Dame stands. And the Ile Saint-Louis is magical. It's a very special place. The people who live on it are named Louisians, and they are very fortunate people. It's a beautiful place, and it connects on the other side to the right bank. So for now, we're not going to visit our friends les Louisians because we have a mission. We want to see more of Notre-Dame. Got to pick our battles here. If you enjoyed going into that little square that's behind Notre-Dame, you'd be very sad right now because it's been locked up for months and it's turned into a construction site. Do you see the barracks? Do you see all that? Oi, wouldn't be Paris if it wasn't loud. Oh, that's a nice view. This little park is called the Square de l'Île-de-France. Île-de-France is the name of the Paris region. In the distance on the right-hand side, on that bridge across from me, you see a big white statue. It's Sainte Geneviève, one of the patron saints of Paris. Saint Geneviève. Down that white wall you see here in the square, in the park, is a very moving place, dedicated to all the people who died when they were deported and died in extermination camps, Nazi concentration camps. So if you haven't seen it yet, I encourage you to go. It's very moving place. They did it at the site of the former Cite morgue. There was a time in Paris when the morgue was right here on the tip of the island, and looking at dead bodies was actually a popular pastime a few centuries ago. People would come and look at bodies through windows. I've seen old illustrations of it. That's quite creepy. Here you have an excellent view of La Seine, the beautiful Seine River. The left bank is on the right there, and then Sainte Geneviève, the statue I just pointed out, is on the right. I see a barge. Look at that. Parisian vibes, even with gray skies. 138 people. Ah, Paris. All right, so I want to show you Notre-Dame from the last side, which is this one. But, dear, now we have wind and leaves. All right, so look at the little park behind Notre-Dame. You see? It's turned into a construction site. Not very nice, but I will stand to the side here so you can see Notre-Dame from the back a little bit. Let's see. A little bit more maybe. Those péniches, barges, usually have a lot of people on a Saturday evening. They're like bars, you know, you can go and have a drink and eat sometimes. Right now they look a little quiet. So here's Notre-Dame from the back, so to speak. The construction site hides it in part. Yeah, the locks are gone on this bridge. You remember the love locks? They almost destroyed Le Pont des Arts, and this poor bridge here was in very bad shape. So what they did is they removed all the locks and they put plexiglass. You see? This is plexiglass. So no more locks. Though you'll find them in other places. I've seen them in Montmartre recently. But not like what it was before. All right, I wanted to show you Notre-Dame from all sides, and I managed to do that before the rain hit. Yes! I hope you've enjoyed this this stroll. The bouquiniste, like I said, the used booksellers, still closed. Thank you for your support. I know many of you have been following me for quite a few years. I was 6 months ago an unemployed tour guide. So I launched a new business. My new job is to share what I see with you all. And the only way I can afford to create free content in social media is thanks to the support of my French language students and my club members. So I encourage you to look me up on Patreon, patreon.com. There's information at the introduction of this video. For a very small amount of money each month, you can help me continue creating free content in social media that we can all enjoy. And at the same time, you do get rewards and perks, because my patrons can tell you I am very generous with extra exclusive content. Videos, articles, photos. So consider doing that. It will be wonderful. Parisian vibes definitely here. We are on the Quai de Montebello. Quai, Q-U-A-I. Hope it's not too windy for you. Let's see, maybe I should stay out of the... Oh boy. No traffic light. I am risking my life. We all are. They did stop. This is not something Parisian drivers like to do. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the feedback on Patreon. I have wonderful club members. We have about 270 club members now. My goal was to have 300 before the end of the year, and I'm very, very close. So I welcome all of you. Look me up and see if any of the rewards are of interest to you. If you're learning French, I share French content as well with my patrons. Ah, that's a lot quieter here, isn't it? Thanks for the feedback, guys. That's very nice. Thank you. Well, happy club members say it best, eh? You don't need to take my word for it. All right, let's see. I shall. Well, hey, Let's be brave. Take one more chance. I will try and go through that little square park. It's a windy day. There's no doubt about it. Look at those trees. Woo! And I'm going to go through the park and head back where I came from. Oh, it feels good when the wind stops. One last peek at Notre-Dame from the park. It will be nice. This park is called the Square René Viviani. Pardon, monsieur. You know, those face masks, I'm starting to fog up now. It's going to be a challenge with the colder weather. If you're not wearing glasses all the time as I am, you're lucky. Okay, you're going to love this. Look. Voila! We've walked all around the cathedral. And you can see she's still standing. Well taken care of. À bientôt, Notre-Dame. This tree, the Robinier, is rumored to be the oldest tree in Paris. It came from the United States, actually, the faux acacia. It's very old. It came from the southeastern states. Yeah, that's what I thought. I just checked. This is the back of the church I showed you earlier, Saint-Julien-le-Pauvre. When I took Rick Steve's Europe tour members here last year, I used to show them that there's a similarity between this old tree and Notre-Dame. You see how they've had to reinforce it with concrete? Well, that's exactly what they had to do for old Notre-Dame. But guess what? They're both still standing with a little help from their friends. Stop rats. Believe it or not, we have rats, like in many big cities, and they tell you not to leave your trash on the ground because Ratatouille and his family are very gourmand. They love to eat. And if you leave trash on the ground when you have a picnic, guess what happens? Ratatouille shows up. Here's Odette again. Les petits choux. Oops. My camera, the umbrella got caught in the microphone. Technical difficulties. Here is the church of Saint-Severin again. So this is Rue du Petit Pont, and over there it becomes Rue Saint-Jacques. Rue Saint-Jacques was the main road of the Gallo-Roman town when the Romans settled down here on the left bank. It's known as a cardo, and it basically crosses Paris across the Seine River to the other side, to the right bank. Major road at that time. Still a pretty busy one now. The back of Saint-Severin. Okay, you gotta watch when you cross with the bicycles. Here we go. This is the Square André Lefebvre, another garden. When I walked with tour members in this area, I would also show them these interesting looking structures. You see the pointed roofs here? Some people wonder what it is or what it was. Those were known as charniers, C-H-A-R-N-I-E-R. Charniers were mass graves in the Middle Ages. When they ran out of space, they would pile the bones up. Some people would also pay extra to be buried in a charnier so their remains would not be on the ground. This is the only remaining charnier in Paris. There was a very famous one in the first arrondissement where Les Halles is today. You know that fountain, La Fontaine des Innocents? There was a giant cemetery there for a long time. And they had the same things, the charniers, the mass graves, but they're gone now. So this is the only site where you can still see them. I just remembered I need to find a pharmacy later. Pharmacies are very easy to find in France. The Green Cross, even on a Sunday, there's always one open in each neighborhood. I'm going to wrap up in about 5 minutes. Thank you for staying with me this long. We are at the intersection of la Rue Saint-Jacques and the boulevard Saint-Germain, the big boulevard that Haussmann. All right, green. My cue. And I guess what I'll do is I'll go through the gardens of the Musée de Cluny, the Cluny Museum that we saw earlier, the Middle Ages Museum, because I know it's quiet there. Is it open still? Yes, good. So the sad thing about the Cluny Museum, because it's been in renovation for a while, is that the beautiful medieval gardens they had in the back, which I visited years ago, are closed now. You cannot access them. They were behind this fence. I hope they reopen once the remodel is completed. Let's see if I can show you a little bit of the museum behind the trees. It's a beautiful building. We don't see much from here, do we? Oh, I see all the encouraging comments. Thank you. I'm glad you loved this walk. I enjoyed it too. Need a little bit of grease here. So I'm standing literally at the foot of the Cluny Museum here. And they did something really creative with the fence while they're working on it. Look at that. In several languages, they tell you what work they're doing. I might stop my little... We'll wrap up here, if it's still open. It is still open. Problem is with the fence, you really don't see Cluny anymore. There it is. Now you can see the Cluny Museum a little better. Beautiful architecture. And the big building here is the Sorbonne University that you see across the streets, through the trees, I should say. All right, I'll sit on a bench and I will say goodbye to you. Pull down my mask a tad so you can see my face. Cuckoo! That looks like a beard. At least that's the only way my glasses don't fog up. Thank you for following me today. It was a fun walk. Now, I have news, so I'm going to share them now. There's a reason I'm in this neighborhood. I am going to be staying in this neighborhood for the next few weeks. A very generous Friends with Véro follower and reader, bonjour Ellen, has been kind enough to invite me to stay in the apartment she rents every year here in Paris because she couldn't come. Like many of you, she cannot take the trip. She reached out to me a few days ago and offered me to stay in the beautiful apartment she owns in the Latin Quarter, a couple of blocks up. So I moved in today. It was a busy day, and I am going to take strolls and walks in the neighborhood and really enjoy being on the left bank. That's a very different neighborhood for me. So I wanted to share my happy news with you. Definitely tune in throughout the week because I will be sharing what I see in this fabulous neighborhood as I am out and about. And do consider joining Patreon as well because my club members will get little behind the scenes peeks at my local life here. I want to wish you a very happy weekend. Thank you for joining me today et à bientôt les amis.